Testing 1, 2. Yeah, this is Shawn Patrick Greene, also known as Fudge. Just bear with me as I try to get this video set up here. And there I am. Let me just get this virtual background blurred a little bit. I got a lot of mess going on in the background. Just give me a second. So this is Shawn Patrick Greene, also known as Fudge. I'm usually on other platforms, but today I'm on my Facebook page right now on the fudge.ny. If you want to go to Facebook, you can check me out there. If you're not my friend, there's other places you can go to. We have the Buffalo Shoutouts YouTube page and Twitter pages, and you can find those links right here. So this Buffalo shooting is a huge story, obviously, not only in just our city, but it's all over the globe now at this point. We see and hear it right now in all the local stations, of course, the regional coverage, and now we've seen it last night almost immediately in the national news. So last night I kind of refrained from going live. I wanted to gather more information. I wanted to understand what was happening before I commentated. I don't have a positive outlook on this whole situation. It's obviously a touchy subject for many people. And to be honest with you, if I was a black person right now in an inner city environment, I'd be looking around my shoulder at shady looking white people. That's just the way I feel about it. However, I don't want to get too deep into that just yet. I just want to give you my initial reaction first. First of all, once again, Shawn Patrick Greene, also known as Fudge on this platform. Buffalo Shoutout is our main page for most of the stuff I've done as the persona or the personality Fudge. I haven't gotten on these platforms as Fudge in a long time, so some people might not recognize me or whatever. I did lose some weight, but I feel this is the place to watch and listen to it because it's a Buffalo relevant topic. I think the Buffalo Shoutout, which was designed for shouting out Buffalo news in a good light and to shout out our city, shout out our talent, specifically in a Christian hip hop, platform. But today, it's not about music, and it's not about a positive situation in our city. Last night was a great pouring out of thoughts, prayers, and everything from all over the world. And this community has been rocked by this. We've seen this all too often, and I'd like to think that it was Columbine, which is a day after my birthday. I don't remember the year, that really set off this idea that mass shootings is a thing. And I'm not really happy about this culture. I don't care what the purpose or the ideal mindset of these people. I'm not going to give into excuse of mental illness either. When it's premeditated, there's no excuse for it. I'm not here to broadcast the name. It's already been out there. Everybody knows what his name is now. This kid was from outside of Binghamton, New York, just south of Binghamton, right near the Pennsylvania border. The Pennsylvania border is the reason why this young man, I'm not even going to call him a gentleman, I'm not going to even call him a man. The reason why this young person had a legal firearm, but in New York State became illegal when he modified it, coming into this city. From what I understand too, is that he came in maybe a day or two earlier. I'm sure geo-tracking, the FBI, all this stuff is going to reveal his pattern of tracking of where he was this whole time. But the news will tell you about all these details. I'm giving you a commentary, a perspective from a white male's perspective, if anything, an older white male, Generation X, not boomer, not zoomer, not millennial, Generation X, white male, giving you my perspective, my opinion of what I feel has transpired and why this is problematic. Now, I had to wait. I had to wait because I could have ranted even probably harder than I might in a few. But last night was a good shout out from Vernon Kemp down in South Carolina. He was impacted by the Charleston, South Carolina incident. That community was rocked. 9 people died ignorantly at a church, no less, by a young white person, male. You know, mental illness, I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to buy mental illness. I don't care what anybody says. It's not mental illness. All right? I'm going to tell you what it is. This is what I said to Vernon during his live. I responded several comments. I don't know where it is now, but hopefully we can get that back. I think it was a great conversation if you're listening. But this is a trained thought process, okay? This is a trained frame of mind. This isn't something you wake up. Okay, a lot of people say, "Oh, I was born this way," or whatever the situation is. And when it comes from sinful nature, I will agree in this way that yes, you're born a sinner, and we need a savior. We need to be saved by grace. I'm not apologetic in my belief in that system, but we are taught from the time we're given birth until we have our own conscious, our own thought patterns, how to act in this world, who to be in this world, who frames those mindsets and those thought patterns. Well, it starts in the home, whether it's a single parent or 2 parents or even older siblings, whatever the case may be. You might have uncles and aunts and grandparents and all that influence you as well. Also in the school system, you're going to see and hear your teachers indoctrinate you the way they believe. And it's not always true. I'm not going to get into it, but man, there's so many things that are being taught in public school that should not be a public curriculum. That's something private between a family member, their friends, whoever. But when your thinking and your indoctrination of your children is to bring harm on others, you cross the line and you're just pure evil. I don't care what you think and believe. I don't care what race, because here's the thing. This was a racially charged incident. This was flat out. A manifesto was provided. The guy lived to tell about this. Who knows how long he'll live? They immediately put him on suicide watch so he couldn't elude, the law, so to speak. And I see a lot of people commenting, how is he still alive? I'm telling you, I'm a white person and I can see it. How is it that almost all of these people who are quote unquote menaces to society, no matter who they are, that predominantly you see black suspects become victim to police brutality and violence and even sometimes death. And yet it's overwhelming evidence that all these white suspects walk and they're handcuffed and they're gently, somebody even made a comment, about the Burger King or whatever. They took this young guy that shot in Charleston, I believe it was, or in Georgia. I forgot which one it was. There's so many that's going on. I don't even know how many there are now. It's terrible. But here in Buffalo, New York, let's get back to this story. We have a young person, young male. Not going to call him a man because he's not a man. He's a coward. I don't know whose basement he's lived in, playing video games all day, thinking about these things. And they're going to try to blame Tucker Carlson for stirring up his, whatever. I don't agree with that. This boy was indoctrinated early in life, whether it's a father, an uncle, grandfather, some male in the family, some male in the community. But I mean, if he's a gamer, which I know he was because he streamed this on Twitch, on his Twitter or Twitch account, which now that stream is gone, of course, which it should be. But I got somebody forwarded to me finally, and I got to see this. Even before seeing this footage, my heart breaks. My heart. I mean, I woke up I'm just hurt. I'm just hurt for the people that are hurt by this. And I'm hurt for the people that are scared by this when they don't need to be scared. Especially in inner city, people are scared as it is of people in their neighborhood who have potential to snuff out their life. For the most part, it's between drug deals or ex-girlfriends that cheated on them with some guy and whatever. There's a lot of silliness going on in the inner city. That's just part of inner city life. It's not right. People want to argue black on black crime. Yeah, it's inner city on inner city crime, period. And whoever lives in that inner city, that's where the crime is at. But this is so outrageous that somebody would come 3.5 hours away to deliberately impose an act of violence on a race of people he feels are inferior to him or what he considers his race. I don't subscribe to any of it, and maybe my upbringing was much better in that regard. Okay, and I lived in the South. I know how it is down there. I lived up here. I know how it is up here. There is racism amongst every race. I mean, whites are racist against blacks. This is not everybody, okay? You're talking about 80% of this country, 75% maybe now, of this country is Caucasian. Okay, white is just, I don't like the term white because it implies that, we're not peach, which most of us are peach. Caucasian is really what our race is. Okay. But really, we're the human race. We're the human race. Yet we're divided because of pigment. That to me, that has been the stupidest, the dumbest purpose. Okay, the dumbest purpose to divide people is the color of skin. Culturally, regionally, even religiously, we've been divided because of color of our skin. Sunday, okay, here I go to church at Sunday morning, every Sunday at my church, and we have several different multinationalities. Of course, we're a little bit more leaning more towards predominantly white, but we're international. We're a multiracial church, and I like that, and I wish we had even more diversity. But the point is that we don't have a reason to divide each other every Sunday morning as Christians based on white church, black church, Asian church, what have you, Latino church. Of course, language can be a barrier and can be a dividing factor, and culture as well. I mean, the Indian culture and the Chinese culture could be very different, even in a Christian church society. But we shouldn't have a division of church based on color of skin. We shouldn't. And yet we do. It's one of the most segregated days of the week, Sunday mornings, all over the U.S. Doesn't matter what part of the country you're from. So off of that for a second. Now Vernon was awesome. He was right on point. He was pouring out his heart. He was expressing his belief, his perspective on the Charleston, South Carolina incident. I was hoping I could get him on here. I'm not sure what other people are doing. Just give me 1 second here. I do have a website. I just want to let you know if you want to contact me or whatever. It's ShawnPGreene.com. If you want to go check that out. I'm just it's not a commercial, but normally I am doing a podcast on my Shawn P. Greene website. It's a new show that I started, Shawn P. Greene Show. But for the purposes of this website, I'm on Shawn Fudge.ny for my Facebook page. I'm also right now streaming the YouTube page for the Buffalo Shout Out. You see the little website there. And I'm not sure if I have that on there. Yes, I do. It's other sites. Let's just look at that real quick while you're watching. And you can watch this again later if you wish. So Buffalo Shout Out is the home of the video right now of what we're doing. My co-host from the show years ago, Constant Battle, also from Buffalo. He can't be on today, and I asked him if he could be. But from what I understood, he was there at the Tops in Buffalo on Jefferson Avenue an hour before that incident. And to think that my buddy for all these years could have also been a victim of this crime just brought it even closer to home. Now, I know they have one of the cops that were listed that was a retired cop who was the security guard there that also has been honored by the community. But just to think that we almost lost a good friend right there, constant battle I wanted him to be on today. I'm not going to try to bring on too much information. We got a whole boatload of information out there for everybody to look at. All the news reports, all the blogs, all the other people. But I'm just trying to give you my perspective. This place is about 2 miles from my house, and I've been here several times. I've been on Jefferson Avenue many times. As a matter of fact, the Apollo across the street is a theater. It's a venue space. It's a community center not too far from there. And another event that's going on actually in a couple weeks will be right across the street from that Tops. Amazingly enough, 1300, I think it's 1300 Jefferson. Don't quote me on that. But Jason Graham is putting off an event July 15th, 16th, and 17th here in Buffalo, right across from that Tops. I imagine we're going to be giving that event a little bit more publicity after this event, because it's the purpose of this is reaching the unreached, is what the title is. Reaching the Unreached Fest is what this is. That whole event is going to be all about. Now, this young male who did these acts of violence towards our community did not come from our neighborhoods, yet our neighborhoods are still the target of our outreach. We're just reaching the unreached. That's what this is going to be all about. I'm really excited to be a part of this. Next week, Saturday is going to be like a breakfast gathering or whatever for donors and supporters and all that. So I'm going to very, very much interested in being a part of that. But man, my immediate attention to this event when I saw tweets. Now, mind you, when it was going down live, I didn't know about it. I didn't even hear about it. It was probably about an hour later that I saw tweets. People were saying, sad for Buffalo. I was like, sad for Buffalo. My mindset, the only thing I can think of is we lost a great player from the Buffalo Bills to another team or whatever. And that's initially what I was thinking. I was like, well, I got to turn on the news right away. And yes, sure enough, live right there, they were reporting. They had reporters right there at Tops talking about the incident. And I'm like, wow, this is too crazy. Like, I have not experienced that. A mass shooting in the city that I lived in. I never experienced that at all. I hear about it like everything else is other cities. They wouldn't happen here in Buffalo. The tagline or the nickname for this city is the city of good neighbors. It wouldn't happen here. And yes, there is violence here. And yes, there are people shooting each other here in this town. And I'm very sad about that as well. And there's much more we can do for our own community to help our own community. But this rocked our world, man. The whole region is in awe. Especially people. I live in the city of Buffalo, and I'm only 2 miles from this location. But it's sickening. It's saddening. I was angry, but you can't meet anger with anger. But I'm still angry about it. I'm angry on many levels. There's so many levels of anger I have on this that is hard to put it in words. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Racism is not dead in this country, and it won't be. I don't think it ever is going to be. And it's not necessarily just whites hating blacks, blacks hating whites, Chinese hating blacks, blacks hating Indian hating, Brazilian or Latinos. Like, the world is just full of junk, okay? But I will say this, in the entire planet Earth, or on the entire planet Earth, there's no other race of people more scrutinized and more persecuted. I'm not talking about religion at all, because religion is foolishness, foolish fighting, and so is all the racism. But the African descendants, Africans and their descendants, and those that have whose heritage derived from African descent, and now especially America is just one of many places that persecutes black people. You want to talk about systemic racism? Well, systemic racism, again, is derived from the upbringing of these people. It's generational. It comes from moms, dads, grandparents, great grandparents. It's the lineage of people that come up with these ideas that there's one race better than the other. There is no one race better than the other. We are all the human race. We have cultural differences. Family members have cultural differences. And yet family members can still get along. Okay, granted, they might be of the same race. But there's no excuse for people using race as a way to exterminate people. I mean, war in general is foolishness. It's disgusting. I'm a veteran of the United States Navy. I was in the first Gulf War as a aircraft refueler on an aircraft carrier, and we thought justifiably attacking Iraq targets with a lot of innocent people dying to distinguish Saddam Hussein's reign in that country. And I think George W. was of the mindset like his father didn't do enough, and so he wanted to find a way to finish the job, so to speak. And that really comes from hate speech. It comes from years, decades. I can't even get into the lineage of the Bushes. I can't get into the lineage of the Rodhams. I can't get into all that. That's all conspiracy theorist talk, anyways. I just want to talk about how hard it was to hear the news that this is my city. Okay, this is my city impacted now. Irish descent, French Canadian descent, whatever. So, French Canadian, Irish, you talk about a hot-blooded person in general, right? Initially, my thoughts would have been to run up on the dude and extinguish him for what he did. But I'm grateful that our police, the response time was 2 minutes. The justice in this is swift. I mean, they didn't take any time off to get him arraigned. Everything was Tuesday night or Saturday night it happened in court. I'm just amazed that I'm amazed. I really am how quick this is happening. Getting this kid his due now. Yes, my mother's on. Thank you, Mother. Pure evil. Absolutely. Absolutely pure evil. My mom is my number one fan, no matter where I'm doing these podcasts. So it is pure evil. This kid is gonna have a hard time in jail. I'm telling you right now. And if he's in our jail system, and if anybody in that jail system is loyal to the city, regardless of how bad of a criminal they were, it is not going to be pretty for them. Go downstairs. My daughter's here. Sorry. This kid really stirred up the pot, and he's really caused some scary feelings about racism in America within the African American community in this town, especially that neighborhood on Jefferson Avenue in Utica is pretty calm for the most part, but it's an inner city. It's a street. You got hustlers on a couple corners. You know, it's not quiet at night all the time. But nobody's shooting out a grocery store, especially the only grocery store for miles. People will call it a food desert because there's really nothing else there besides this grocery store. Some of that comes from gentrification, white flight, comes from a lot of different places. And that's sad. More grocery stores, more resources should be given to those communities. And I don't want to hear any white person say, well, it's their fault for not taking care of their community. Well, they don't have the resources that other communities have. You don't see that because you don't live in that environment. Not every township, not every neighborhood has the resources that privileged neighborhoods have. I'm just telling you. There's no place for white supremacy. I'm going to just put that out there right now. There's no place for it. KKK issues, you guys should have been gone a long time ago. I don't subscribe to any of that. And I know I have a lot of enemies out there because of that, because I don't subscribe to racism. I've lived in the South and I've had these conversations with some people, and some of them just flat out N-word this, N-word that, and it's not a term of endearment like, you know, black folks will share with each other. It's a term of endearment to each of them. A white person can't say that comfortably unless you're accepted in a group or whatever by a certain group of people, and that's not even allowed. You know, I spoke against the N-word, regardless of if you use that as a term of endearment. I don't care. I think it should be practiced to not. You should not be using it. It should not be in your vocabulary, no matter what race you are, because it continuously uses that word to label you. Words are powerful, man. Words are powerful. If you call your friend an idiot as a term of endearment all the time, he's going to end up being an idiot. That's all I'm going to say about that. Words are important. Words matter. Don't call your friend the N-word. I don't care what race you are. I don't think you should be using that. Let's build up your people. It'd be like me calling all my white folks crackers all day. And I don't do that. I don't call them honkies. I don't call them whiteys. I don't call people, you know, the term of endearment is friend or brother or pal. That's a term of endearment, not cracker. Dog, sometimes people call each other, what up, dog? Think you're Randy Jackson or something. Terms of endearment should be changed, I think. Hey, you do what you want to do. But if you don't want to be thought of as the N-word, let me just say this: stop using it towards you and your friends. That's all I'm going to tell you. That's white thought right now. Okay, this is a white thought. Take it as you wish. Don't use the N-word for any reason. Not towards your friends, your family, close relatives. Think about it. Change your words, man. Change your words, woman. Words matter. The mindset of race in this country has to change. And white people have to also, Caucasian, European Americans, really. We call people that are black African American. We call people that are European American white. So it's kind of like it's an imbalanced way of calling each other. We're just human beings. We're American natives, but we're not Native Americans. You know, there's a lot of confusion of identity in this world. But I'm telling you right now, do not think that racism is dead in this country. It's not. It's not dead. And God's not dead either. God's not dead. I come from a Christian perspective. White, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant. Okay? If you want to call me something. A WASP. All right? I don't even like that term. Because it doesn't really define me. I'm a non-Catholic. I don't consider myself Protestant. Okay, and I don't consider myself white, maybe Caucasian, Caucasoid, whatever you want to call us. You know, it's identity, man, identity. I have so many friends that are of every race, okay? So many close people, especially in this city of Buffalo. People that I connected with first before anybody were African Americans. First person I actually befriended coming into this town, Stephen Kulu. He's pretty dark. He's a dark fella. And I wasn't trying to be urban. I wasn't trying to be somebody else. I'm just who I am. And he was who he was. We were both authentic, and that's why I think we had a good friendship in the beginning when I first started hanging around Buffalo. He showed me who's doing what in town, and through events, I got to meet people, and man, I was blessed by all the talented people, the skilled people, and the solid Christians that are out there here in the city, within the city limits of Buffalo. The east side, the west side, the south side, didn't matter. We had a lot of solid people, brothers and sisters in Christ. Blacks, whites, Hispanics, Asians. We got them all. Doesn't matter. But apart from all that, the black community was very good to me in many ways. Okay? I did a lot of stage productions in town. The two prominent stage acting gigs I had were directors that were black. Phil Davis Jr., Alameda, I think that's how you pronounce it, theater. I played a white father to a mixed child in a stage play. That was Chris Pierman, who is the father of Raven Simone. That's So Raven. Well, her dad was in town a couple years ago, collaborated with Phil Davis Jr. They cast me in this play, the musical stage play. Luckily, I didn't have to sing. But I think I was one. I might have been the only Caucasian person on this whole stage play. And Mother also comments, we are all made in the image of God. Absolutely. God doesn't have a color. He's a spirit. We just happen to live on different parts of the equator and come from different parts of the world that made our skin tones differently. So I was in the stage play in Buffalo. Phil Davis Jr., an actor himself, producer, director. He does a lot of great things entertainment wise for the city of Buffalo. I was blessed to be a part of one of his productions. A couple years later, while I was at UB, I was cast as one of two of us that were Caucasian. Oh, let me make that four of us. I'm sorry. But it was at the Paul Robeson Theater, African American Cultural Center, right there on Michigan Avenue on the east side. And it was a stage play about Native Son. Of course, I played a racist. I had to for this play. I hated communists, and I hated black people, my character. And it was uncomfortable because I actually had to use the N-word on stage. I struggled with that. I was like, man, I'm an actor. I know professionally I got to sometimes stretch myself. We want to call it a guilty conscience. I felt it. But it was set in the 1930s. It was meant to show, the blatant racism back then. And really, that's a lot of that today's attitude stems from that era as well. Just blatantly racist. And not everybody was like that, but there were so many people in the system that control your neighborhoods and how it's structured and who could live where and taxation and representation. All that stuff has just been such an issue with America for so long. South Africa's apartheid was no different. There's a lot of things going on in this world, but it just seems like, the Uyghurs up in China also is suffering. That it's not really racial as much as it is religious, but still they're a little indifferent towards people from the Uyghur culture up in China, northwest China, being persecuted. They're Muslims, the Uyghurs, and the Chinese are predominantly communist Chinese, Confucius, etc. I mean, it's worldwide. It hasn't stopped. It's been going on since the beginning of time. But we're better than this. We are better. 2022, we're better than this. We're better than this racism. Way better than this. We're human beings that have increased in knowledge. We have a higher level of consciousness, where our information is heightened, education is heightened, and we're more connected than ever with the internet. And yet we still can't get past prejudice, racism, junk. It's junk. It's garbage. I'm going to speak to specifically these teenage boys right now. If you could pass this message on to them, if this is the only thing they hear, you can copy this. You can send it out. I don't care. I'm not copywriting today's message. Send this out to your white gamers in the basement of grandma's house. Send this out to them, okay? Let them know what you're thinking and what you're doing. It's wrong. How you feel about other races, that yours is superior than others. I don't care if you're a black gamer, an Asian gamer, a Caucasian gamer, a Latino gamer. I don't care if you came from LGBTQ plus community. Your culture, your race, your society is not better than anybody else's. And violence against any other kind because of your thought that you think you're society is better than others is completely wrong. Violence against another thought or ideal or any other ideology beyond yours is not right. That goes with past history in the Christian faith. The Crusades were not sanctioned by God. It was sanctioned by greedy kings. Now there was also, there was opposition because of certain things that were going on, but then they take it too far. Okay? The Ottoman Empire was starting to try to get into Europe. Okay. So let's defend the European borders. That's one thing. But to go out and slaughter Muslims, Jews, blacks in the name of Christianity, you were in error back in those days. Of course, you're all dead now. You won't be able to hear this message. But those people that understand history, you'll understand what I'm talking about. That was wrong. Those crusades were wrong. It's the same concept that ISIS was trying to do, raising up, destroying everything in its path, trying to eradicate Christianity and Judaism from the face of the earth and all the cities and all the towns they were trying to infiltrate. The Crusades were wrong. The campaigns from any society, any king to destroy or conquer was wrong. I mean, the pharaohs did it. Alexander the Great did it. Caesar Augustus did it. King George, or one of the kings of England, did it. They all did it. They all did it at one point, trying to conquer the world. Isabel and Ferdinand, the Huns, Genghis Khan, you name it. Whoever was recorded in history to be a conqueror, they were wrong. They were all wrong in why they did what they did. Now we can make this justification, and I'm not going to get into it. Palestine and Jerusalem. I'm going to let the people who fight against the fact that their opinion of Israel is speculative. It's like, I'm not even going to get into that topic. There's many people who don't feel Israel is true Israel, or Palestine even has a leg to stand on. There's people in all those different directions. Okay, that's another big, huge issue out there. My heart goes out to the journalist that was Palestinian born, Palestinian American journalist for Al Jazeera, who died as a result of Israeli fire. My heart goes out to them, okay? And that's a conflict altogether that's hard to fathom. I couldn't imagine living in that society where every day is war. Because it doesn't happen here in Buffalo. This is not, we don't have a war. In America, we have several cities with pockets of warfare, so to speak. Inner city against inner city. It's not just about race. They just happen to live there. It's inner city versus inner city, folks. Chicago, probably the most predominant. New York City has had a resurgence lately. But man, this act was ridiculous. So I'm telling you, all you white supremacist extremists who are listening or get this message, you're wrong. I'm telling you flat out, you're wrong. Your daddy lied to you. Your grandfather lied to you. Your mother lied to you. Your aunt, your uncle, your cousins, the brothers down the streets, they all lied to you. You white extremists are dead wrong. And believing what you believe, that your race, or our race, if you will, is superior to any other race. There's no such thing. There's no scientific evidence. It's cultural oppression for generations. It's what's caused this. Not because one race is better than the other, but one race psychologically defeated people over whatever generations, thousands of years of this stupidity. Africa today as a continent was not full of the impoverished states or the lands that are being raped by other societies, other empires as they are today. For the last 500 years, really, over 500 years, Europe and more so now lately it's been Asia, specifically China, taking advantage of natural resources in Africa. Okay? It's a fact. Everybody wants an iPhone. So where are they going to get all this stuff from? They're not going to get it from China. They don't get it from the Himalayas. Where is it most rich? The Congo. Central Africa is where you're getting all your iPhone material from. Y'all are like, oh, Apple this, Apple that, but Apple is destroying Africa. You want to call it out? Technology in general is destroying Africa. Now here's the argument. This young lad, young punk, outside of Binghamton, came to Buffalo, shoot 10 people dead, injuring 3 others. Here's his argument. He's against the critical race theory. Am I? Of course I am. In the way it's being taught. Critical race theory is saying white people are bad. That's not right. Just as much as granddaddy and grandpappy have been telling all the white kids that black people are bad. It's the same concept. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But should there be context for every race as to what happened in history? Absolutely. People, the complaint most people, non-whites, if you will, the biggest complaint they'll have is that it's his story, capital H-I-S, his story, like, Whitey's story. This history is Whitey's story of what happened. And I have to completely agree. It is a Eurocentric perspective in our textbooks in history in American education. I agree with that. That's been going on for centuries, and it's an indoctrination system. It's not education, it's an indoctrination. I mean, even, like I said, I'm a Generation Xer from New York State. I got my education, public education in New York State, in Western New York. West Seneca West was when I graduated. The curriculum was just inundated with a really white American perspective. I mean, predominantly, suburban towns, that's what they have. They have Caucasians going to school. I mean, they know their audience, right? Is that a logical way of explaining it? They know who their audience is, and that's who they're talking to. Nah, it's not justifiable, I don't think. I do believe I was indoctrinated. I wasn't educated. And the way New York State taught about Native American culture and history and all that made them seem like a second-rate citizen of New York State. We really weren't taught about a perspective other than a Eurocentric perspective on New York State history, American history. Very little will we hear about a few people here and there about, George Washington Carver, Harriet Tubman. We didn't really they didn't talk about them. It was all about the forefathers of the United States. I mean, we really didn't know much about the government within the New York State as as a whole. But they did talk about the Iroquois Nation and the nations within, or the Iroquois Confederacy and the nations within. But it was really a surface conversation about Native Americanism. It wasn't really a good history lesson. I mean, our state deserved more in our curriculum, deserved more history on the nations, the First Nations within America, this part of the country. New York State is separate from Canada. Niagara Falls is one of those places that divides it. But the Iroquois Nation was all over this region. Canada, Southern Ontario, Quebec. The Algonquin language was the predominant language. Do you think they're going to give us lessons about words in Algonquin or the culture within the Iroquois Confederacy and the figures within their nation? They're going to talk to white people about them? Of course they're not. At least back then. They wanted to make sure white people were proud to be white people in America. That's how I felt. That's how I feel today. Now, I know I'm older, and I just finished a college degree at University at Buffalo. And I tell you right now, half of the student body from there are international students, if not more. And it seemed like I was actually in a campus in China. That's what I felt like. A lot of students, a lot of my people I've done projects with within the various classes I was in. Media study classes. I did one video project. You can see it on my YouTube channel, but I did a collaboration with a young man from China, Eastern China, Shanghai, closer to, I guess he's from. We had a great conversation. I got to learn more about him, his family, his history. Stuff that, man, I wish we would have had in our education system in America. I don't think critical race theory is 100% the way to go. I just believe in balanced education. And people argue what curriculum should be taught. I understand that. Everybody wants to be the man or the woman that creates the curriculum so they feel good and they can write the book and they can get the royalties from the sales of that book. It's a racket. Okay, education is a racket. It's a business. Don't get it twisted. They know who they're speaking to. They know who they're writing to. They know who they're editing their books for. Anyways, UB was University of Buffalo had a lot of international students. I partnered on projects with people, like I said, China, Singapore. What's the other one? Bahrain, India. People are from all over are in this campus. And here I am, a local yokel, going to school, and I feel like I'm the minority. And it didn't feel bad. I'm first of all, was an older, non-traditional student. Secondly, I was a veteran, and there's a very small percentage of those students there who are veteran students. So we had it was like we have our own little culture, really. No matter what our race was, the student veterans had their own culture. But I didn't shy away from interacting with other people of other kinds, other races, other backgrounds, other countries. But that's just me. I wasn't raised to be segregated. I wasn't raised to be a judgmental, racist pig. I wasn't raised to be that way. I didn't have that perspective. Maybe at one time I might have. but I grew up and I gained knowledge and I gained understanding. I think I tell you what really helped me was my military service too. It got me out of my white suburban neighborhood and it put me in smack dab in the middle of hundreds of cultures in one room. Literally 90 people in one living space, living together, learning how to live together from different parts of the country, some people from different parts of the world. I remember one guy's last name was Nwankpa from Nigeria. You know, a lot of people from the Great Lakes area in my basic training group. And then we go over to San Diego, where a lot of Mexican American heritage is a predominant. Filipino Americans, heavily Hispanic, if you will, but blacks, whites, Spanish, Asians. Southern California is a hodgepodge of American, a mixture of people between San Diego and Los Angeles and the surrounding communities. Not everybody gets along. There's racism out there. I'm telling you, I experienced it. A couple Mexican kids trying to shoot me one time. Like, it's the way it is. That's the culture. Is it right? No, it's not right. Violence anywhere is wrong. But today, I'm going to conclude this. I don't want to go too much further. It was wrong what happened today. And I'm talking to white America right now. Stop being posh in your comfortable white life, white circle of friends. Okay? Stop looking down on other races. Your race is not superior. Your race is not supreme. You just have a different socio-economical advantage, but it's not because race. Okay? It's because of racism, maybe. But your race is not number one. There's no superior race. We're all human beings. We're all the human race. Some people are, offended by the word mankind, but that's what we are. We're humankind, okay? Whatever you want to call it. If we both, cut our wrists, we're going to have red blood. The truth is, Adam, meaning red, he's a red man. Adam is what we all are. We're Adam. We're atoms. We're red men. All of us, red men and women. Our blood's red. The thinness and the tone of our pigment is not a definition of who we are. And it should not be your perspective on what somebody is. The pigment of someone's skin is it's like eyes or ears or hair. It's not their identity. That's just a characteristic of their physical body. But that's not who they are. Who they are is on the inside. What is their mind? What is their heart? It's the inside. It's the character of people. This is what Martin Luther King described, being judged by the character, not by the skin tones. Okay, I'm a white Caucasian, whatever you want to call what my race is. I don't really like the titles they give for race anyways, because it's irrelevant. It's a characteristic. It's not a race. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm telling you, man, these job applications, they really upset me because race should not be on there. Skin tone shouldn't even be a factor in job applications. It's experience. It's education. It's knowledge base. I do like some of these applications where you go and you take a couple tests to validate your skill sets. That's great. Skin tone and race should not be on a job application. Ethnicity should not be on a job application. That should be post your job application, I think. Not your preliminary entry into all that. I think it's irrelevant. We want to get past all that. Stop putting race and ethnicity on your job applications. This is for corporate America now. But finally, I want to say this to the gamers out there. All you gamers who think your game is a reality, or that you can take your game world and transpose it to the real world, you guys are demented. Yeah, that's where your mental illness comes from. Okay? You guys are so secluded from human beings, from interactive. COVID didn't help for a lot of people, but now the restrictions are lifted. Get away from your computer. Go out there and shake hands with people. Start having conversations and meeting people again. This generation lost that big time. I shook hands with people. I said hi to people. Eye to eye contact, skin to skin contact, shaking hands, hugging, pats on the back, whatever it is. This generation coming up that's just purely gaming all day. That's not enough. That's not enough interaction. It's great you can connect with people that are like-minded, but that shouldn't be your sole social interaction with humans on this planet. It's through the video screen. Get out there in this world, man. Go to networking gigs. And if there isn't any, create one. Y'all, yeah, gamers got to stop being so secluded, because you're just thinking about your own thoughts independently by yourself, and you're going to get lost. I'm telling you, you're going to get lost. That's a major problem. Gaming is not the problem. But if your whole life is lived inside the house solely gaming, and you don't go out there and talk to people, and you don't have social interactions with people, you're going to lose out, man. You're going to go crazy with your own thoughts. And generally speaking, your own thoughts may come from generational thoughts that are negative towards other people. I said all that to say this. Buffalo, New York is a great city. It's an awesome city to live in, my opinion. When I moved in 1989 and I joined the Navy, I didn't want to be here anymore. We had a lot of since World War II, a big decline in the industrial opportunities, jobs. And basically by the 1980s, everything was dried up. And for a couple decades, it was kind of slow progress getting back to being, a not so impoverished city. As far as I know, for many decades, it was Detroit, Cleveland, and Buffalo were in the top three every year for most impoverished, poor cities in America. So that's Lake Erie. That's the whole Lake Erie. You're talking Toledo, Ohio as well, Erie, Pennsylvania, and even some parts northern, like Milwaukee, the other side of Lake Michigan. But Lake Erie had the top three most impoverished states in America for decades. Buffalo was one of them. Niagara Falls is no better. Niagara Falls, New York, struggled with a lot of violence, a lot of crime in that city. So pray for our region. Pray for the societies to change. And I came here 2010 Within a couple weeks of being here, I drove all the way from outside uh, outside of Buffalo and Lancaster, New York, and I drove all the way down Broadway into the city. And the closer I got to the city, the more I started crying. I was bawling for my city. I was crying for the city. I was sad that my city was dilapidated, is the way it was. And especially Broadway, one of the best cities that, best streets our city had for decades, was just trash. I don't want to hear about who's in the neighborhood, okay? It's who left the neighborhood. That's what happened. Okay, let's get back to the truth. It's not just who's in the neighborhood, it's who left the neighborhood destitute. That's your trash, you pick it up now. White flight happened all over this country. I I have nothing against white people. I have I have much against white supremacists and people, white folks or Caucasians who feel that their race, their ethnicity, their European country background is more superior than anybody else. Whether you're from a German descent, you think, hey, the Germans are better than any European descent. Or French, if you're from French descent, you think that's better than any other Caucasian in Europe. If you go that far, then you'll think any race beyond that country is better than anybody else. And so you'll treat people that way. Oh, you're Polish, I can't be around you. You're Irish, I can't be around you. That's stupidity. That's just cultural differences. That doesn't mean nothing. Deep down inside, it's about human connection. It's about loving your neighbor as yourself, like God says to his people, like Jesus told us to do in the Gospels. You love your neighbor as yourself. Did he tell you love your neighbor if they're the same shade of color as yourself? He never said that. So whomever your neighbor is, or people in your neighborhood, like Sesame Street, who are the people in your neighborhood, the people that you meet each day. I don't know, quoting the Bible with Sesame Street, that's kind of silly maybe for some people, but that's the idea. Who are the people in your neighborhood? The people that you meet each day. It's a simple concept. Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. Now, if you truly hate yourself, maybe you should be secluded. You should be on suicide watch. Because if you're willing to harm yourself, you're willing to harm others. So you need to start loving yourself more first. You need to find out who you are in Christ. God created us human beings in his image and likeness. You need to love him so you can love yourself, so you can love your neighbor. Love the Lord your God with all of your heart, all of your soul, all of your mind, and all of your strength. And love your neighbor as yourself. Those are the two greatest commandments, Jesus stated. That's it. That's that simple. As messed up as people are right now, you got to love them. You need to take time for yourself, be in prayer with God, talk to him, say, Creator, God, Yahweh, Jesus, help me. Help. I need help. I need help loving myself. I need help loving you. I need help loving you, my neighbor. The one thing I'm going to say about my city, it is the city of good neighbors. That doesn't mean we don't get in conflict with each other from time to time. It doesn't mean that we're not crass towards each other periodically, or there's some irritability amongst us at times. I think some people say the craziest people in this country come from Buffalo. It's possible. But we're going to have to pray against all that, pray against mental illness. But this is truly is a city that cares about its people. And there's a lot of pride of being a Buffalonian, lots of pride of being from this region. We pride ourselves in doing what we can to be good to each other. We're not perfect. There's still racism in the city. We still have people born here that still think flying a rebel flag is a legitimate statement. That's not a culture that I condone. Like I said, I lived 12 years in Tampa and Tampa Bay area in Florida. There is racism. There is absolute prejudice, racism you wouldn't believe. And that's, bless their heart, they are the most open about it. The difference between the racism in the South and the racism up here is that they're a little bit quieter about it. They won't say much about it, but they're in the back of their eyeballs. They're thinking that person's, inferior to me. Those people, you people. When people distinguish other cultures as those people or you people, that's an inferior conversation that they're having with you. We need to change that culture amongst European Americans, okay? Caucasians, whites, whatever you want to call this group of 70% or more that consider themselves European descendants. We need to change this culture. Now, we need to train our children in the way they should go, which is a non-racist way, okay? A non-racist, a non-superiority complex about this topic. I mentioned this once before in my other podcast. By the way, ShawnPGreene.com. If you ever do want to check out the podcasts, I've already had several podcasts loaded up on the website. Go to the website down there, ShawnPGreene.com. You go to the YouTube channel, Twitch, Twitter. I've had them all up there. So if you ever want to check that out, go for it. That's my primary identification, Shawn Patrick Greene. But I'm also known as Fudge on these platforms I'm broadcasting to right now. I'll probably share the link to this in other places. But I mentioned this once before, and I'll mention it again. I just lost my train of thought. Anyways, let's just finish this. Buffalo strong, hashtag, okay? We have our Buffalo Bills, our Buffalo Sabres, our sports teams. We're really behind the winnings, and even if they lose. They're behind what's happened in our city. Josh Allen, one of our latest breakout superstars, is expressed his condolences and heartfelt disgust with what's happened. But this town is going to overcome this, and we are truly the city of good neighbors. That we will roll out more compassion for the survivors of the victims, and even the 3 people who were shot, and the people who are affected at the Tops grocery store that worked there. The people that weren't shot but traumatized by the experience, seeing 10 people dead in their building, a couple out in the parking lot. I saw this video. To think that a life could be snuffed out that quickly. Somehow this kid had some training. Somehow this kid knew how to shoot so well. And it was just a little camera that was, a GoPro camera on his tactical gear. holding it like he's actually in the game of Call of Duty or something like that, whatever he played. This kid's disgusting. It was a disgusting display of not courage. He went in there, blindsided everybody that were victim to this. Now, it's one thing to be in a combat situation at war. He was 18 years old. If he wanted to go out and shoot people, sign up for the military. Maybe he tried and they kicked him out. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to join and he couldn't make it. Why don't you go fight over in Ukraine, you coward? That's not courage at all. That was not courage. That was a coward, weakling, punk, thinking that being a gamer makes you powerful. And then taking that virtual reality experience and thinking it's something you can do in reality. I have other choice words I want to say, and I'm not going to say it, but man, it just pisses me off. It really does. That this kind of cowardice could happen in America right now, and especially in my city. Especially in my city. It's unacceptable. I'm a Christian. I'm supposed to be praying for him. You know how hard that was to swallow for a minute there? You got to pray for him. Yeah, you got to pray for him. Pray that it's swift justice, whatever it is. It's a good thing justice wasn't in my hands at that moment, because that wouldn't have went well. Gun problem. Gun's not the problem, okay? Guns are not the problem. The fact that this kid had a legalized weapon, crossed the border in Pennsylvania to alter it, to make it illegal in New York State, drive 3.5 hours, that's crazy. That's crazy. The fact that he targeted Buffalo specifically. He knew what neighborhood to go into. He knew who he was trying to. He knew who he was trying to victimize. He knew it. His little manifesto stated it. He's a punk. So I'm angry. Yes, I'm angry. He's misrepresenting the race that I have been identified as, or other people can identify me as. He misrepresents my race, my ethnicity. He misrepresents me as a white person in America. So I am angry. That's not who we are. 80%, 70% of Caucasians in America. Okay? But that's not who we are. White people are not racist. There are racist people who are white. But there are racist people who are black, who are Chinese, who are Indian, who are Native American. There are a lot of racist people of all kinds. But the Caucasians in America as a whole are not racists. I tend to feel after World War II, the baby boomers were the first generation to kind of break the cycle of racism. Although it still was alive and it still was happening, that's the generation that began to change that mentality. Generation X, I think we went even further and more extreme, especially during the 90s. There's a big resurgence of African descent, cultural pride in being African or of African descent, which I celebrated. I'm just as proud to be an Irish, American. But I think it was justified. And I was happy to see that go down. As a matter of fact, I was a fan. As much as I didn't agree with everything, I was a fan of Public Enemy, the rap group from the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. and I listened to their whole catalog, and I completely got where they were coming from. I don't, however, subscribe to all the Muslim or the Nation of Islam beliefs. I more I'm a Christian, so I'm unapologetic to that. But when it comes to racial indifferences and their this this trust in the justice system or dirty cops, so to speak, or whatever, I can understand all that. NWA came out with that as well. There's just bad people everywhere, man, in every culture. So what do we got to do? Let's just pray for them. That's not an easy pill to swallow, especially when you have a loved one that's been a victim of this situation. And Buffalo, I shout out to you, man. I shout out to my city of Buffalo, New York. 716 is what our area code is. I love you. I love this city, the city of good neighbors, the Queen City of New York State, Nickel City. There's a lot of nicknames we have over the years. I mean, you got to be tough to support the Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Sabres as sports fans all these years. But I just want to thank people out there who are, sending off thoughts and prayers. I'd like to see something change in that neighborhood where that Tops is, where it's not a food desert. If anything good came out of it, when I'm not going to say I'm glad this happened. No, it's a tragedy. Should not have happened. But if anything good can come out of this, I would say two things. Number one, we're bringing people together in this city to fight against this injustice, to fight against this racial barrier we have. Those people, all of us, should be rising up and have a better conversation with each other. That's really what I think is going to happen more than ever. But number two, the news just blasted it out locally, especially, of this particular neighborhood being a food desert. There's not another grocery store from that neighborhood for another couple miles. And the best they can do, they can spend their hard-earned money or even some food stamps on higher priced places like Dollar General, Family Dollar, that kind of stuff. It's overpriced anyways. And it needs to change. So we need to build better markets right there in the Jefferson Utica neighborhood. I mean, Utica and Ferry, all these neighborhoods are not great places to grow up and live. People that are from there will tell you the same thing. But the fact that they don't have a place to eat or buy their groceries close by, that's a big problem. That's a major problem. And if anything, we've brought attention to this for this neighborhood because of this situation. So that's one good thing. Now we're going to have to change that. We have to figure all that out. Me, I chose a location in the city where I can walk to anything. I got 3-4 different bus routes. If all else fails with my transportation, there's 3 or 2 grocery stores. There's a Dollar General, gas stations, fast food, all within a mile walking distance, from this area. That was intentional to get somewhere where that would be ideal, no matter what my income level was. And I had a pretty bad situation coming back here. And eventually I got back on my feet. It took me a while. But not everybody is in that situation, that they're in a neighborhood with lots of groceries. So I'm grateful that I'm in where I'm at, but I'm going to have to figure out how we're going to try to change this situation for these other people. Buffalo, I love you. Love you so much. I love my city of Buffalo and those watching from outside the area. There's a lot of ways you can help. I'm sure the CNN and CBS, NBC, all these places are going to keep following up on the story behind this thing, and they're going to give you details about it. And I don't care about details right now about what's going on. I'm going to tell you what's the heart of man. The heart of man is evil, period. Man, women, human. We are born evil in the very beginning of our life. Yeah, we're infants. We don't know nothing. But when we get to the age of consciousness of knowing right and wrong, that's the time when, whether it's a parent, a teacher, or whatever, can teach you the right way, or they teach you the wrong way. Up until the age of accountability, where you make your own decisions, you make your own thought process, and then you're 18 and up, you're radicalized or not. I want to see people radicalized to be loving to their human race, period. No matter what the skin color, no matter what the culture, I want to radicalize people to love each other, love God, love people. That's the staple of the community. That's in the side of our church building at Bread of Life Church in South Buffalo. Love God, love people. It's that simple. 4 words can make a huge impact on this whole world. Tonight is a big opportunity for anybody that's in the region. I know there's a lot of churches that have prayer vigils already. Somebody's going to be doing something tonight. Pastor Darius Pridgeon, also school board superintendent here in Buffalo, at True Bethel Baptist Church, led a prayer. And I think it might even be streamed on a network somewhere. But tonight I'm going to a church in Batavia, Cornerstone Church, starting off what's expected to be a 3-day revival sermon. Initially, it was set up by Mario Murillo, and he backed out because he didn't think there was enough volunteers. So we're going to come and go to this church tonight in Batavia, New York, halfway between Buffalo and Rochester. We're also going to be bringing these petitions with the family and friends of the victims. What's going on? I'm leaving my house very shortly to go. And I encourage you to just be in thoughts and prayers for our region, as I think God has something big planned for us here in Western New York. Very big. And some pastors might not be on board because of political views. That doesn't matter to me. I'm not about politics. I'm about the kingdom of God. That's it. That's all I'm about. And I believe that the kingdom of God needs to start training up the children as the way they should go. And we need to change the culture. The kingdom of God needs to change the culture of this world. It's us. It's us that has to do that. We got to stop racial division. We got to stop teaching children how to be prejudiced against people, not just race, but also culturally. Because they do things differently, they eat different foods, they speak different languages, even they worship differently. You don't have prejudice towards them. Love God, love people. That's that simple. Thank you for listening. For those people who did, share this with other people. Once again, you go to Buffalo Shout Out on the WordPress there. You'll see it right there. We have links to all this stuff, but I got a Facebook page. You can also like that if you want, but it's broadcasting right now on Twitter and YouTube. Okay. So Twitter and YouTube, it's broadcasting now. You can share those links if you wish. Watch it later if you will. But, oops. So yeah, I got a Facebook page. So anyways, you got Twitter. It's broadcasting live right now. Very easy to just share it right there. Thank you for the 562 followers. They got a surprise. They have a surprise broadcast that they didn't expect, and hopefully they'll look at that and share that later. I'm going to put it on the Buffalo Shout Out, page from the YouTube, but we're live on YouTube right now as well. Once again, my name is Shawn P. Greene, Shawn Patrick Greene, also known as Fudge. You can reach out to me on this page here if you want. But Shawn P. Greene is my primary website now, and everything is connected to that. So you can see right there, I'm live. I'm live right here on our YouTube channel for the Buffalo Shout Out. Only 202 subscribers, but that's going to be your link. You can share as well to any platform that allows it. So I just want to thank you guys for listening. My hopes was to have Constant Battle on today, but that's not going to happen. But in the meantime, just catch up with me, ShawnPGreene.com, and you go /Fudge if you want to watch stuff related to that persona of me, my alter ego, if you wish, my music promotion side of me. So last words from my mother. We are praying for the families of the victims and their families of this tragic, senseless shooting. May God comfort them through their lids. Not sure what that meant, but through their something. Thank you, Mother. I know my mother, my father, I live in Tampa Bay area. They're looking lost. Okay, through their loss. They're watching intently from their televisions and any information they can get and social media, so on and so forth. So thank you once again. Fudge, your boy Fudge here on the Shout Out, Just Good Music. We haven't been on this platform in a while, so some of you will be surprised to even see this. But others that are friends with me on the other Facebook page, I'll share the YouTube page, the YouTube link on my other Facebook account, which is Shawn Patrick Greene. It's very simple. ShawnPGreene.com for all the real details of everything that's going on. Go to BuffaloShoutout.wordpress.com. But other sites, my other sites link right here on ShawnPGreene.com. That's simple. There it is right here. Other sites. Here's all the other things I'm affiliated with. And that's it, man. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you another time. Buffalo strong. Keep praying for us. We got a lot to overcome, but God is in control. Even though it seems like human beings are out of control, we got to pray for protection for the minds of these young people on these games, that they don't think that these games are reality. People who are mentally and socially unstable, people who don't have a good social life. That's really a very big issue. You quote unquote mean girls in high school that reject guys that are weird or strange. Okay, maybe you don't have the social skills to talk with them. Maybe that's the problem. So you make fun of them instead. I pray you get some education and you get some stability within your social skills. I pray for unity among races, among ethnicities over this. And I pray that God just brings people together and that Jesus is shown through this situation. That's all I got to say, man. That's all I got to say. ShawnPGreene.com. Fudge Malloy is my nickname. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. It's the shout out, Just Good Music. Keep it locked.